Hey, Eastern Wade County. I am Heather Louise Finch, the Director of Communications for the town of Zebulon, and welcome to Zebulon Now. Today, we are sitting down with the head of planning for the town of Zebulon. Take it away. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Lauer. I am the planning director for the town of Zebulon. I've been in urban planning for a little over 10 years now. I'm a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners and recently just finished a fellowship at the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy. I'm excited to be here and work for the citizens of Zebulon.
So, Matt, I have a question for you.
Of course.
Can you tell me, for folks who may not know, what does the planning department actually do for Zebulon?
That's a big question. We really boil down what we do into 4 buckets. Think about it like that. So the first one is long-range planning, we call it, or strategy. So we maintain the town's comprehensive plan, the transportation plan, and these documents we have to maintain by state law in order to have zoning, in order to issue permits and things like that. The second bucket is what most people probably think about when they think about the planning office. It's issuing permits. The processes in which we issue these permits is really based off of the comprehensive plan. So that long-range planning strategy bucket and the current planning bucket, they go together, they talk to each other. The third bucket is code enforcement. And so we have 2 code enforcement officers that are out in the community working to ensure that the community is always becoming cleaner and always becoming safer. These code enforcement officers also double as zoning inspectors, so they're often working in the new developments, ensuring that the new housing that is being built is compliant with our zoning standards. And then the fourth bucket is we serve in an advisory capacity to the mayor and the town manager's office on infrastructure issues. And so this is developer agreements, this is working through decisions regarding large transportation projects, public-private partnerships, and things like that.
So thank you for that. So I have to ask, when people hear something is being rezoned, what does it actually mean?
Sure. So rezoning simply means we're taking a set of regulations on a property and changing them to another set of regulations.
Okay. And so does rezoning automatically mean that something is getting built?
No. In fact, often when something is being rezoned, it's to be sold as a different type of property. So you have a property that's zoned residential, but the market thinks that this is a better suited as a commercial property. A developer may try to rezone it from residential to commercial.
Can rezoning ever protect an area rather than change it?
Sure. So we have zoning in the town of Zebulon that preserves rural properties, for example. They can't, if you're zoned R1, you can't access water and sewer and things like that. So zoning is not just a tool to encourage development, but it's also a tool to protect and preserve agricultural and open spaces.
So at what points in the planning process can residents give input, and how can they make sure their voices are heard?
Planning is continual, and so there are many points within the planning process in which residents can be heard. Our office is very much an open door policy, so call our office and you can schedule a meeting to talk to us if you have an issue or a concern, or you're just generally interested in what's going on. We publish our current projects that are going through our current planning process online, the interactive development map, so you can see things online. And then we also have, depending on the type of rezoning or the type of activity, public meetings as well. And those are advertised both in the Wake Weekly newspaper, which is our newspaper of record, and on the town's website, and broadcast through your channels and things that you do as well. We work together to make sure that the community understands what's happening and knows when there are opportunities to engage.
Yeah, East Wake TV is a great partner for the town of Zebulon for sure. So I have to ask you, so when it comes to the planning process, what is the difference between the planning board and the actual board of commissioners, and how does that all work?
Sure. So the board of commissioners appoints the planning board, and they serve as an advisory board to the board of commissioners. There are many types of planning activities, such as rezonings, that the planning board vets before it goes to the Board of Commissioners. And when the planning board vets something, it goes to the Board of Commissioners with a recommendation from the citizen board, right? And so the recommendation would be either to approve or deny, and here's why.
And so you're talking about all this planning and the rezoning. I hear the word smart growth tossed around a lot, not just in Zebulon, but everywhere with how changes are happening throughout North Carolina. What does smart growth really mean specifically for Zebulon?
Sure. Smart growth is about directing development in a manner that is fiscally sustainable. So in the sense that the town, at the end of the day, doesn't end up having to pay for additional miles of road or additional miles of pipe that isn't necessary to support that development. And smart growth is also about ensuring that what gets built is done so in a way that promotes choice in how residents move about the town, choices in how residents engage with the economy, and choices in where to live. And so it's really about creating a balance, and it's about creating opportunities for individuals to engage and grow within the community.
One of my favorite questions that I was thinking about this, I wanted to ask you because I see stuff on social media all the time, and you hear stuff in the community. So let's debunk some myths.
All right.
Let's play a game. So let's play a game.
Okay.
What are some of the most common planning myths that you hear, and what is the truth behind them?
One thing we hear a lot is that the planning department controls what restaurants or what stores come to town. We don't control that. What we do is ensure that the planning documents account for an appropriate balance of uses in appropriate places, but we don't control the particular brands that come to town. That's a market decision.
Can you explain a little bit more about a market decision and what businesses look for and all that goes into that, such as the socioeconomic factors or the revenues and
Sure. So
all of that?
yes, a real estate investor is going to look at a range of data points to decide if this is an area that we want to invest money in, or also is this a part of the town we want to invest money in as well, right? And so they look for things like predictable investment environment. Is the town consistent in enforcing the rules and ordinances? Are the rules and ordinances conducive to the things that I want to do? And is there a market for people to go spend money at my business as well? And those are just 3 examples of things that investors will look for. Our job in the planning department is to ensure that our rules are enforced fairly and predictably. It's also to ensure that we have rules that promote the type of development and the type of activity that our comprehensive plan says that the citizens would like us to develop and promote. These things take time. That's why often a resident may hear about something happening in town and they don't see a building for 2 years later. That's sometimes a normal amount of time for these things to take. But it is a big myth that a particular brand is or is not coming to town, and that's the planning department's doing. That's not true.
Are there times that the town has to deny a project, and what kinds of things cause that to happen?
Sure. Municipalities deny projects all the time. There's really 2 ways that projects get denied. Projects that have to go in front of the Board of Commissioners can get denied if the Board of Commissioners concludes that the project is not in alignment with the town's comprehensive plan. On the staff level, when we're reviewing projects, we don't always deny projects so much as we send them back to the drawing board. We like projects, we work with developers to ensure that their projects are in alignment with town policies. And if they're not, we can send them back and say, redesign this piece or that component of the project to meet our rules and regulations.
That makes sense. So another question for you is, where can residents go to see what is proposed and what is coming up and how to stay involved?
Sure. We have an interactive development map on the town website. And that shows projects that have been recently approved, projects that are under construction, projects that are officially proposed. So we don't put anything on there until it's, there's a public record that exists for the project. And that's the fastest way to see what's going on, and we try to update that regularly. All of our contact information too is on the website as well, if you wanted to reach out to a particular case planner that's working on a project or something like that. So.
Yeah, and also like I feel like sometimes there's projects that y'all are working on that you legally can't talk about yet because you're buying to like certain contracts until more things go down the line, and once that gets approved, and there's a whole process there. Is that correct?
Sure. So until something is a matter of public record, it's our practice not to talk about it.
Right. So when people hear that a company is investing in Zebulon, what does that really mean?
That means that they're bringing their own private dollars into the community to build something. This means not just spending money on construction materials, but spending money on construction labor, they're paying sales tax on materials that they're buying. They're contributing to our roads impact fee fund. And they're making improvements around the community as the conditions of their approval require of them. Investment in our community does not mean that the taxpayer is spending money. It's actually quite the opposite. It means that the private sector is coming in and bringing new money into the community.
So what kinds of investments help improve our town, and how do they benefit residents?
Smart investment, or investment that is in line with these smart growth principles, I think immensely benefits residents because it creates unique places to live, work, and play. They have an appropriate, their burden on the infrastructure system is appropriate in the sense that they pay for themselves, right? And so a smart growth investment, a good commercial development accounts for their impact on the road system, for example. One thing that we have in Zebulon that not every community in Wake County has are impact fees. So developers pay a rate based on the amount of trips that they generate into a fund that the town maintains that then we use to spend on transportation projects.
Okay. So how does the town decide what kinds of businesses are a good fit for different parts of Zebulon, or is that not really how it works?
That's not really how it works, but citizens are an integral part of the larger strategic planning process for the town, particularly in the legal documents that we have to maintain in the comprehensive plan and the comprehensive transportation plan. And so these plans need to be updated periodically every couple of years, and then completely rewritten, every 15 to 20 years. And so these are opportunities during the updates and the rewrites to become very involved. And these are the citizens' plans. We want the citizens to become very involved into updating or scoping these plans to reflect the type of community that they want to live in and raise their children in.
So when people hear economic development, can you differ between planning and economic development, and what role does planning play with economic development?
Sure. In the simplest terms, economic development is about cultivating businesses. Planning is about ensuring that those businesses can develop and sustain physical spaces in Zebulon. So one way to think about it in a way is that our economic development department is sort of like the sales team, and we're the closers at the end of the day. So the economic development department will bring us potential investors or projects and say, this investor is interested in building this facility here. Can they do it? And if not, are there better places for them to build, whatever type of thing they want to build? And then we can help guide those investors through the process. Well, it's a pleasure being your planning director. I love what I do, and I'd love to invite you to become involved in the process. We have several opportunities where residents can come to Town Hall and participate directly in the process at our joint public hearings, our planning board meetings, at our commission meetings, both the regular meetings and the work sessions. The joint public hearings and the commissioner meetings are also broadcast by East Wake TV. And so opportunities, if you're not comfortable being in public, to still watch and learn and reach out to the planning department. We love what we do. We love to work. We love to serve the residents of Zebulon. And one of the most fun things about being a planner is all of the different types of people and all the great life stories that we get to hear. And it's just a pleasure to be helpful and to be a part of the Zebulon community.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Zebulon Now.